And go live. We are live and we will wait for him to come on. I think it's 5:55 right now, so he should be on in a minute. But I just wanted to start our live as we wait for him. So, good morning, Gene. Good morning, Facebook world. I am, and welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. I am your host today. It is Wednesday, and Gene is back. Yay, Gene. It's so nice to,
Yay! Back from the living dead.
yeah, to see you this morning. So, and welcome back. I think it's been probably a month and a half since you've been back on the show.
Yeah.
So, or since you've been on the show. So, welcome back. Nice to
Thank you.
see you. And we are today, we're supposed to have a guest all the way from Ireland. He was making comments yesterday about Toastmasters is more than us and ums. So I said, well, come and share your experience with us. So hopefully he will pop on real quick with us and have a conversation. But before we get him on the line, since we're just a little early, we can talk about what's coming up with the district next month. So next month we have, oh, here he is. I will talk about next month. We will talk about Toastmasters in Ireland. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Yeah. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
I'm
Very
super.
nice to be here with you.
It's nice to meet you. For those of you who are also out there in Facebook, I have never met Paul. So, Paul is a Toastmaster, from what I understand, and he has some great information about his journey on Toastmasters. And Paul, meet Gene. Gene is my co-host on Wednesdays, and he's one of the original hosts from Wake Up with Toastmasters. We have been doing this for about a year and a half now, and just trying to get some information out in our district 115 of Toastmasters and their journeys and why would one become a member. And when we were talking to Curtis yesterday, Curtis was giving us his journey and his benefits, and Paul made some comments. And so I'm like, well, come and share your Toastmasters journey. So welcome, Paul. First of all, tell us what you do in Ireland, and then we will ask you about your first Toastmasters experience.
Well, first of all, hello, Jean. It's lovely to meet you, and Jennifer, lovely to meet you too. When you say what I do in Ireland, do you mean what I do for employment, what I do
Mhm.
with my dog, what
Well, what do you
lem-
do for employment? Let's start with
let me
that.
start. I live in Cork, Ireland, and have lived here since 2005. And I work as a marketeer, a business storyteller, and a copywriter. They would be probably my three. I do a small amount of paid work these days. I've been self-employed since 1998.
Mhm.
I'm a poet. I am a podcaster. I'm one of the, well, we'll talk about Toastmasters
Mhm.
in a minute. Fairly big user of social media. I have a dog who I love very much and walk every day. And
Mhm.
I'm a gin taster. Trying to think, oh, I'm father to three children and husband to one wife.
I'm glad you're a husband to one wife. Uh, Gene is stating that he cannot hear you, so I'm not sure if the volume or if your mic.
Ah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, so but maybe your volume's just a little low for him, and it's very soft. Maybe that's why. No, us we're really loud Americans, you know.
check my audio settings. Yes, there's a good reason for that.
I
Think
turned up
that
my speakers so I can hear you fine now. Sorry.
I think that'll be much better, is it?
That is,
Better.
yes, that is much better. So I'm going to go back to your dog. What kind of dog do you have?
I have an English setter.
Ah, very nice. Very nice.
He's a gun dog, and would you like to see him?
Sure.
Hey, Louis.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
Louis.
like, no, you crazy Americans. Well, he looks very well behaved. Nice to
Of
meet
this. He's terribly well behaved.
you.
Come in, Louis. Come in. Come in. Come in. Come in. Right. I just don't want to disturb the entire house. There we are.
Me as well. So, all right. Well, thank you again for joining us. All of our guests gets asked this question. Tell us about your first Toastmasters experience.
My first Toastmasters experience was in 2008 when I saw a friend of mine give a presentation at an organization called Business Networking International, and he was awful. I saw him 3 years later, and he was incredibly good at the same place. And I said to him, Alan, what's happened? You used to be awful. Now you're very good. And he said to me, Toastmasters. I've been to Toastmasters. And I said, I had vaguely heard of it, but nothing more. I said, what's that? He said, I'm a member of a local club in Glanmire in Cork. And he said, you should come along. And I said, I'd be very interested in coming along. It took me another 4 years to go to a Toastmasters meeting. I went in 2015. Another friend of mine was already a member of a local club here. And I went along, and I remember it very vividly. It was a wet, cold, windy, chilly February night. And I went into a room where there were a whole lot of people being very nice to each other. And I thought, wow, this is kind of a bit unusual. It reminded me of going to Lourdes with my mother, where everybody is incredibly friendly to each other and supportive, etc. And I went up afterwards, after the meeting, to look at the desk to see what was there. There were some papers, and I looked at this application form. I think maybe, I don't even know if anybody asked me to join, but I turned it over on the back and I saw a Toastmasters promise, and I went, wow. It said any organization that can have a kind of branding statement like Toastmasters promise is 10 elements. I thought, wow, there's got to be some substance in this. So I joined that evening. And so that is the story of, my first experience. I wasn't over impressed with the quality of the speaking. In fact, there was one person who had a very big position in the club who I thought, my goodness, if you've been in the organization as long as he's been in the organization, and that's only as good as you get, I thought, okay, this is a big international organization, and I love what members promise. Mm-hmm. So that's it. It was the Toastmasters promise.
I love that when you walked into the room and everybody was friendly, because everybody says the same thing who comes on the show, and we talk about it, right? And it is something that Toastmasters has spread out through all of their organizations, all of their clubs and district, and it's the same all over the world. So everybody's friendly, they're welcoming you. And one thing about the brochure, and you turned over and you saw the Toastmasters promise, that was maybe the first time that I heard somebody say that's what attracted them, because it does make sense, right? That somebody, a company that has printed out the promise to give you a safe environment to grow and to learn, and to a communicator or to a leader is very powerful, that they put it on paper that this is what they're going to do for you as a member.
At the time, I owned a branding company,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a special interest in brand identity. So for me, that was a powerful statement of values. And I thought, if this is going to be backed up by behavior,
Mm-hmm.
then I thought, I was on a kind of a mission to explore what was the secret of Toastmasters, because I came along from a position of having a lot of experience of communicating with groups. I'd worked as a trainer for many years,
Yes.
and I didn't have any nervousness about talking to groups.
Yes.
I didn't really know what kind of communications Toastmasters gave people a chance to learn. And I didn't expect, and I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, that it was a self-development organization.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a whole lot of things that I needed to learn, but I also discovered how few people in Toastmasters, or at least this is the impression I had, were aware of the Toastmasters promise, and how little impact it had in, like, for example, it was years before I went to a Toastmasters meeting and heard anybody do a speech about it.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on here? There's nobody is taking this attractive feature seriously, except that they're all being very nice to each other. And in fact, a lot of that promise is lived in practice.
Yeah.
But it's not what people would talk about.
Yeah, what they talk about, or what's the attraction. And so yours, it sounds like it was more of a curiosity if they could back up their words. So you wanted to see how it actually flowed, basically, or how it worked, so that if a company was going to brand it, do they back it up? And then you're saying, yeah.
Yes,
I
was. But I was also, yes, I didn't actually join Toastmasters really in order to become a better speaker myself. I joined in order to discover if there was any way in which I could learn from Toastmasters so that I could help other people. Because I was pretty experienced at training people to make presentations. And, I had all sorts of people to work with over the years.
So since you were kind of on that mission, did you then have people or encourage people that you worked with to join Toastmasters as well?
No, not for a long time. In fact, for a long time, I was reticent about that because of the standard. There were a lot of people in Toastmasters who were not experienced at communicating to groups and didn't seem to be in jobs where they were required to communicate to people in groups, and a number of people who weren't in a job at all, meaning that they were mature and had stopped earning their living.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought to myself, can I really bring somebody along here? The people I was used to mixing with,
Mm-hmm.
who were in my circle, if you like, were, I thought, rightly or wrongly, in many cases more advanced, and a lot of the feedback was so pleasant, delivered in a very pleasant way,
Mm-hmm.
but wasn't focused Now, I came from, you see, kind of a specialist background of somebody who was used to using video for training people and used to doing precise rehearsals and practicing. So I was much more forensic than by disposition anyway. And I thought, well, look, what's the point of me inviting people to come along to a meeting and everybody telling the person that they're doing very well? And people saying, well, if I had to give you a recommendation, almost apologizing for the fact that they were giving a recommendation. And I thought, hang on, people want to get better. Can we please give them suggestions on how they could be better next time?
Yes.
And there were, no, I'm talking about limited experience of Toastmasters.
Correct.
I'm talking about, one or two clubs.
Correct.
So that held me back for quite a long time. In fact, it held me back. I've been held back until Toastmasters went international, meaning went online.
Oh, since as in with the pathways or with the way that the pandemic has brought it?
The pandemic online. You can go to a meeting anywhere in the world and you can, I just think that's a phenomenal thing. I love it.
It's amazing. It forced us, the pandemic forced us, as Gene Williams would say, forced us into an environment that we weren't ready for, but we grasped on very quickly. Right, of how to work the Zoom, how we actually met on Zoom or on Facebook, and it's kind of cool. So with that now, as you're going international and you're popping into different clubs, you see how different clubs, different areas are interacting with each other. Do you now find that there are people that are in CEO positions, in presentation positions, that Toastmasters has benefited their jobs, their communications better? Have you asked other people that question as well?
I've talked to a lot of people about what they've gained out of Toastmasters, and I've seen for myself what they have gained out of Toastmasters. I've seen people develop quite rapidly in their, not just their confidence, but their competence. Mm-hmm. And I don't have any hesitation now to recommend Toastmasters to more or less anyone who would listen to me, because I don't know anyone who couldn't be a better communicator.
Absolutely. Now, I joined Toastmasters because I saw somebody on Facebook, and she got her pin and she was super excited. And, Les Brown would always talk about, if you want to be a better communicator, you need to join Toastmasters. For, 20 years, I've been listening to him talk about it, but I never actually searched for Toastmasters. And then I saw this person Erica, she says, oh, I got my pin. I'm super excited. And then immediately it was on a holiday weekend in December, right? So I had some time immediately. Where is it? When is it? When do you meet? How much does it cost? When can I go? So in January, it'll be my third year, going onto my third year in Toastmasters. So I'm super excited about using social media to be able to spread the information out about Toastmasters. And you said that you're into social media as well for your marketing. And I am the district's public relations manager, and I tell them over and over, the trio: we need to use video, we need the area directors, we need the division directors, we need our presidents, we need our VPPRs to do videos, to be present. If this is the only way right now, and especially with the virus being multiplied, and spreading quickly again, that the only way that we're actually meeting people is through Zoom and Facebook and social media. What is your suggestion to the districts and even to Toastmasters International. How do we get this secret that we've all been holding on to? How do we get this secret out to the world as quickly as the pandemic is getting out to the world?
Well, let me tell you that when I became division director in Cork last year, or even the previous year when I was area director, I became aware that we had 360 Toastmasters in Cork in 21 clubs. And I was horrified. I thought, this is ridiculous. This is a tiny little sect. I could practically invite that many people to come to my birthday party. This is ridiculous. Here we have an organization that has almost never been more relevant. I mean, given the extent of the variety of communication media that exist, and the number of people who are being held back from promotion in their job or playing a more serious senior role in their local community because of their reticence about communicating face to face with people, talking fluently and intelligently about things that they know. And I thought, this is crazy. We have about 200,000 people in the city, and double that in the, at least triple that in the county. So we're really only a small little group. And I've since discovered, I don't know the I don't know any part of Toastmasters as well as I know Ireland and Britain, but we have in the UK, we have one club in Liverpool. Liverpool is huge.
Yeah.
We have no clubs in the Northeast, in Newcastle and Middlesbrough. Sorry, these are all names I presume you may not ever have heard of. But we have huge gaps. And so what I think is really important is to start with feet on the ground and say, look, we're very small. How on earth does a very small organization get better known in society?
Mm-hmm.
And the cheapest way of doing that is through social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's the problem in Toastmasters with using social media very much is that not very many members of Toastmasters, relatively speaking, use social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went through all of how many Toastmasters in the district I'm in are using LinkedIn, and how many put it into their LinkedIn profile. Relatively few.
Yeah.
How many Toastmasters are using Twitter? Very few.
Mm-hmm.
So how many are live streaming? I'm a big user of Periscope before, when Periscope existed. But so basically, we're an organization which has a lot of members who are reticent about communications anyway, because that's why they joined,
Mm-hmm.
are still growing their ability to communicate with strangers, find the company of other Toastmasters very satisfying. So there's almost like a built-in disinclination to go outside and form new clubs, or even bring the name Toastmasters to public awareness. Now, I'm only talking about my limited experience. I must be careful to emphasize that I'm talking about what I have found in the limited area I've been working in. And so I think that there's huge potential. Like you would expect the district director, the trio as district leaders, to be pretty hot on all modern communication media. Now, it's of course not the only ability you have to have. You've got to have the ability to support others, an ability to to pay attention to the current membership. And so similarly, club presidents, club officers, unless they have got it through their employment, through their work, or through their interests in groups, there's a possibility that a club might have a leadership team that doesn't really hasn't previously used social media very much. Putting an odd thing up on Facebook isn't really reaching the outside world. It's more internal communications, in my opinion.
Right.
But I think that the key lies in clubs. The key lies, now maybe the key in relation to corporate clubs lies at the chief executive level in the district, where, for example, a district director, ideally, if a club was being set up in a company, would meet with the CEO of the company.
Yeah,
and
or the local president.
Have a one-to-one, just as a kind of look. Let's encourage benignly the people who are keen to do it. But I have discovered that that doesn't always happen. And that
one person was rallying for it, and it's not the CEO or the president of the local division. It's that one employee. This would be great, right?
Well, that's a terrific thing, especially if they, are enthusiastic and well networked within the company. Mm-hmm. But we're up against huge competition from Netflix, from Prime, Amazon Prime, from other things that people can do other than practice their communication skills. So, but I do think we have a terrific offering, and we're global. That's tricky for anybody in any little niche to kind of comment, because we're growing quite impressively in some parts of the world.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, about what areas are growing. So, in which are people that learn to master the English language, right? Where, this may be a great way to do it. So it is kind of interesting of what we are offering as a Toastmaster. And where you are, it's no different than where we are right here in Las Vegas, about the amount of people and the information. That's why we do this show, because we are trying to get the information out to everybody. And my comment is that if everybody who is on social media that's a Toastmaster, share it and talk more about Toastmasters, then they're reaching exponentially to others about it. So if that is our way of marketing, and just because it's how do you say, self-contained network, right? But if it keeps on spreading out, and if we comment, like, and share, it'll keep going out to different parts. And like I said, if it happened for me, I'm hoping that it can happen for other people. Hey, you got that pen, you belong to an organization, you are speaking better, you're being involved in different things. How can I get involved? Is where I'm hoping somebody will ask that question. And I think that's just always the marketing bit, as always, is I'm hoping somebody will catch on to it. So do you think that that would be on the right track? And I have another question on top of that, that you are a division director and an area director. And have you seen, since you started and you are showing other people that we can grow, has the clubs expanded? Have you increased your membership in your area? Sorry, I asked two questions in one sentence.
Well, you asked, the first question you asked was really whether I thought that your approach to getting messages out of the organization, whether I thought that was sound, and I do think it is sound. I did simply add in a few other things like the use of email. All members have, email lists, people that they're in touch with. Some members have got LinkedIn profiles. It would be good to increase the number of them who specifically list that they have a voluntary role in Toastmasters International.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like, every bit helps. Here in Ireland, we have a big tradition of newspaper reading. So there's an awful lot of local newspapers and getting articles in local newspapers. But I think the world has changed an awful lot towards international now. Like, I was a member of one club when the pandemic started. I'm now a member of 6 clubs.
Wow.
I helped found 2, and I have 2 corporate clubs going to charter in January. So
Nice.
it's like the big thing that would help a lot, I think, is for people to be very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And that means at meetings, when people come along, that there should be a good air of enthusiasm. And people should be welcomed well, and that's really important, what happens before the meeting starts. And because you live or die upon somebody's experience of, well, I'll go to a meeting, I'll find out what it's like.
Yeah.
if unless the meeting is excellent, they're going to postpone taking any action. So now the other question, which was, I think, trickier question, and you're going to remind me what it was.
The question was, have you seen the growth in your area?
No is the answer. And I tell you, we last year we held our own, lost a lot of people, gained a fair amount of people, no net growth. Our district 71 had experienced no net growth.
Yeah.
I think we had a net loss of, I think maybe 2% or something like that.
Yeah.
So there have been individual clubs that have grown. It's okay. There's tough circumstances. I think that growing is undoubtedly difficult. Undoubtedly difficult. I think it's a lot easier. I think will be easier in the future to grow online clubs.
Yeah.
Particularly with younger people coming through, being interested. The idea of driving to, 20 miles or even 10 miles in the middle of the winter to go to something which they know darn well could be run on live streaming or be run like this on Zoom. I think that's tough. I also think that one of the things of the future that might help expand Toastmasters are the development of what I'll call niche clubs. These are like, I founded it. I'm the founding president of a club called Toastmasters for Golf. So that is a club. To be a member, you have to be enthusiastic for the game of golf. You don't have to be able to play. But we chartered in about 6 or 7 weeks. We meet only once a month.
Mhm.
That may change, but we meet.
Yeah.
That idea of Toastmasters for golf, there's another club I hope we'll found called Toastmasters for debate. There are interest groups, like there are people who are bound together by photography, by sport.
We have a couple here, Toastmasters in the Kitchen, and then authors and inspiring authors. And they're both online as well.
What was the second one?
Authors and inspiring authors. Did I say that right, Gene? Yeah.
That's I must make a note. That's of big interest to me.
Yeah.
Because authors and aspiring authors.
Inspiring authors.
Is that an online club?
Yeah. And that meets on, Gene, on Friday at
6:30 U.S. Pacific time.
Yeah, 6:30 Pacific time. So Paul, you have been very interesting. One question that got us talking is, what do you find the biggest benefit of being a Toastmaster? Or maybe just a benefit. And then we'll bring you back on and we can have more conversation. I like you.
For me personally, I'll be very selfish about this. It's what's enriched me. 2 things have enriched me an awful lot. One is that I've never been a member of a voluntary organization before I joined Toastmasters. Like, I'm an employee and a self-employed person. I had a series of jobs in my life. I've been supervising people for a very long time, but the main thing is that I've worked in business, different kind. So I'd never been on a voluntary committee before. And that connects with the notion of servant leadership, which is so immersed, which is so immersed in Toastmasters, or Toastmasters is so immersed in. I mean, I can't give anybody any instruction to do anything. I discover, I'm president of a club. I can't instruct anybody to do anything. I'm an assistant division director this year and a division director last year. I can't tell anyone to do anything. And, I'm just not used to that. And that's been terrifically good for the development of my social skills.
Yes.
And that's a big personal thing.
Yeah.
The other side is to do with the fact that I don't really have any personal ambitions for success in Toastmasters. What I am ambitious for is to help other people to develop. Because, I've had my career.
Yeah.
Toastmasters isn't going to help my career. But it can help other people to get ahead in what they're interested in. It can even help people to get a higher pension.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's a bit crude for anybody to say, join Toastmasters.
But it can, right?
Pension. But actually, we all kind of know that if you get promotion in your job, there's a chance you're going to
get the better.
Have a more secure.
For us, we match, right? So as you grow, you can get them to give you free money. So
I'm here for those 2 things I mentioned. And the third thing I'm here for now, I have to say, is that there are people I've met around the world who have held me because of how much I've loved their company, who have, I'm in 6 clubs and I find it difficult to think which one am I going to leave, because there are people in every one of them whose company I don't want to leave. And they're international clubs, and there's one in America. called Optimistic Orators. It's in Michigan.
Oh.
And and that club did something. This is a good thing to do. A very experienced member of that club, I leave out half the story, actually suggested to me in a breakout room, because I was vice president for membership at the time, said, look, your club needs more members and our club needs more members. Why don't we join each other's clubs? So three of them joined Blarney Club.
Oh, that's funny.
And two of us joined their club.
Yeah.
And it helped both of us in terms of the Distinguished Club Program.
Yeah.
And it also helped us in terms of, new influences.
Yeah.
And, so it brought to our club two past district directors.
Oh, wow.
Well, we didn't bring them a district director. We just brought them two very...
You just brought them people from Ireland.
Can I just tell you one thing? The questions you've been asking me, particularly, what brought you to Toastmasters, or what have you gained out of Toastmasters? Mm-hmm. They are the same questions, those two, or that line of questioning, or what could be better about Toastmasters? How could we get the word out better? Mm-hmm. I'm one of the co-presenters on a podcast, which has 4 episodes a week for the last 7 years, mm-hmm. called Irish Talkers. So you could find the Irish Talkers podcast. Uh-huh. It's actually sometimes called the Talk Show for Talkers. Mm-hmm. But that podcast has interviews with, at times, one of the episodes nearly every week is an interview with the Toastmaster. Mm-hmm. And that uses those, colleague of mine, Ted Melanphy, interviews people, and he uses very similar questions.
Well, I think that's really good, because we are trying to get the word out and we're curious. And if we have, I'm following your show, so I'm just following it right now. But if we have people and more information and more followers, and we follow each other, somebody's going to have to say what's going on, right? How can we get more members? And these shows and these individuals, we're working to do it. We are working this is our purpose. Our mission is to be able to spread the news and get more members. And that's all we want. And it's not more members because of Distinguished, but it's because Toastmasters should not be kept a secret. And that's my whole thing, is it should not be a secret. And we have amazing people to meet and amazing growth because of it. So that's my thing. I have to get to work real quick. Gene Dunford, do you have anything to say? Because you've been quiet.
Well, I just got out of the hospital yesterday from 50 days of having COVID. So I've been a little bit dim here. Paul, you're a very interesting person. I'm a member of Authors and Aspiring Authors. We've had 2 people that have never been published that are published now because of the club. We work together. I've learned about self-publishing. So definitely take a look online and find Authors and Aspiring Authors. And we're happy to have you visit. It's Friday, 6:30 p.m. U.S. time Pacific. And I look forward to getting to know you. You are a very interesting person, and you have some really good ideas for Toastmasters. And
that's very generous of you. And I wish you all the best with your recovery. My goodness.
All right. On that note, it is time to leave our show. Paul, I hope to see you again soon. Make sure you comment on any time. If you ever want me to pop on anywhere, let me know as well. You have my email. We'll follow each other on social medias and podcast. And you know what? Good luck. And I hope we come back around this way. Anytime you want to pop in, just say, hey, I want to pop in. I host on Wednesdays. Gene co-host on Mondays and Fridays. And then we have Ken and Phyllis on Thursdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So
How many days a week? How many days a week? 5?
we do, yeah, we do this 5 days a week. 5. Yeah, but we have different hosts so that it's not,
Congratulations.
yeah, so that we're not committed to every single day. So, and you may see little excerpts, is that how you say it, from the show on you, because I am starting to take 2-minute conversations or 1-minute conversations and start, instead of somebody having to watch, now it's 40 minutes of our conversation.
Well, I'm ever so impressed with what you're doing. I really am. And thank you for doing it.
Oh, well, you are welcome. And you know what? If any of your other members from the 6 of your clubs want to come on, just have them send me a message and we'll get them on.
I'll definitely do that.
All right,
thank you.
Perfect. Well, you guys, it is Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday. And I will see you next week. And Happy New Year, too. Happy New Year. All right. Bye.
Bye.